Hi there, and welcome back to Inner Alchemy Conversations. I am honored, excited, delighted to go through this topic with you today. And this, in my opinion, is one of the shadows, one of the most pervasive mindsets that can show up or rise to the surface when we begin this work of like healing, transformation, growth. And I call it chasing shadows. I call it chasing shadows. And I'm not sure if you can relate to it, but this is what it looks like. It is embodying this mindset, this perception, this belief that is constantly asking, what's wrong with me? 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 So this is just the baseline. This is just an introduction for the conversation that we're gonna have today, And it is very interesting to see this perception in a lot of people that are on this healing journey. And before we go forward, if you're new here, my name is Xavier Dagba. I'm a trauma-informed transformational life coach, host of the podcast Inner Alchemy Conversations. And, one of my missions is to help people lead their lives from their heart and not their wounds. And back to the topic of today, I would like to dive into making the shift of chasing shadows, or at least stopping that kind of impulse and calling to just keep chasing shadows when you begin your healing journey. And it's something that usually happens when people start on their journey, which is like, what is wrong? Show me what I can fix, and show me what I can fix, and show me what I can fix, and what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Now, this very often comes from a very benevolent place, which is the deep desire to get better, the deep desire to improve, the deep desire to demonstrate something different, the deep desire to be more whole, the deep desire or to be less broken. And this is really the key part. Very often we lean into this healing journey with the perception, I want to be less broken. I want to be less broken, meaning we are constantly focused on every single thing that shows us where we are broken. We are constantly focused on the patterns that do not seem to serve us anymore. We are constantly focused on people in our lives that are not aligning with who we have become. We are constantly focused on what is wrong. And what do I mean by chasing shadows? And this is something that happens when we begin when some people start doing shadow work. And if you are new to shadow work, let me say, it's a practice of, unearthing the parts of you that you have denied and that you have disowned. The shadow work is a practice of like making peace, integrating the parts of you that you had denied or disowned so that you may feel a little bit more whole. So very often when we begin this healing journey, we start digging the shadow and digging the shadow and digging the shadow and digging the shadow and digging the shadow, and there is nothing wrong with it in my opinion. However, where we are digging the shadow from, which is, I am not complete yet, I am not whole yet, I am still broken. This becomes the new paradigm that is basically leading your life, where you are just going through life not available for what is beautiful, not available for the realization of what is actually right in your life, what is working the way you would like it to work, what is actually in your favor. And in my opinion, this is actually one of the biggest shadows that most people on the healing journey have. What's broken? What's broken? What's broken? And we relate to the healing work from that mindset, from that perspective of like, I am broken. And when we look around, we might actually perceive that shadow right here behind you that is constantly feeding you. You're broken, you're broken, you're broken. You know, what's the next thing to fix? What's the next thing to fix? What's the next thing to fix? And integrating that shadow that's constantly looking for what is wrong within you, actually begins to leave space, to make space for holding actually space. Again, a lot of uses of the word space here, holding space for a beautiful duality. A beautiful duality that is here, which is, of course, there is stuff to work on. There are shadows to integrate. There are patterns to heal. There are coping mechanisms to change. Of course, there is all of that. There is the reparenting to do. There is the inner child to heal and integrate. Of course, there is all of that. And most likely, till the day of your last breath, there will still be, to a certain degree, as long as you are in this human body, or as long as you are human, to a certain degree, there might still be some of it, regardless of how saint or healed or integrated and how much inner work that you've done. It is at least my opinion that to a certain degree, there will still be some of that to be done. And at the same time, you are also available, which is the key part. You are available for the beauty and for the joy, for the happiness, for the hopefulness even that is already here right now in this moment, which sometimes we get too caught up in. I need to heal. I am broken. This is broken and that is broken and this is broken and that is broken and this is broken and that is broken, that we forget to remain available for what is beautiful, for what is worthy of celebration, for what is worthy of appreciation, for the truth that, and I'm using truth, my truth, that yes, you're a work in progress and you will always be, but maybe on some level, you're also a masterpiece. And I just want to put it out here. So integrating this shadow that wants to chases shadows all the time. This shadow that is just in the background, that is operating from the place of I am broken. I am defective. There is something wrong with me. I need to fix everything that's wrong with me before I'm able to love myself. I need to fix everything that's not right with me before I'm worthy of love. I need to fix everything that's wrong with me before I can actually be able to enjoy life. When will I arrive? When will I be done with this? When will this be over? When does the work end? We are getting in a beautiful place in time where we are invited to step out of that one-sided way of looking at the healing journey. A reclamation, and this is how I love to relate to it, a reclamation of that joy as well. And the question that is here, how are you available for that joy too in your life? Are you only available for what needs fixing? Are you operating from that perspective of scanning constantly? That hypervigilance with your own patterns, that hypervigilance with the things within you that you think need fixing, that you think need healing. Are you so much invested in that you forget a huge part, a huge key part of the human experience? In my opinion, a key component of the human experience is Source experiencing itself through the human, God experiencing itself through the human, the universe experiencing itself through the human, meaning you experiencing joy. You experiencing elevation. And that does not mean bypassing. And here is the key part. You don't need to bypass anything at all in order to be more open, be more available for joy in this moment. In my opinion, one of the most balanced perspective that you may have as you lean into this healing journey would be, of course, holding the intent to experience the deliciousness of this moment and being present with every shadow aspect as they come up. Being present with it, being available for going through the dark hole when necessary, when pain arises, and that is a natural occurrence. In my opinion, you don't need to chase shadows. Your consciousness craves integration, it craves unity, it craves you being more one, it craves that, it craves inner reconciliation. And whenever you're ready, all these things that are ready for healing and integration are going to come to the surface. In my opinion, you do not need to chase all of this. And when you're ready, when all these patterns come up, the only thing that is required is the openness of heart that causes you to say yes to these patterns as well. When I say yes here, it is being present with them so that you can do the healing work. And at the same time, being available for the deliciousness, being available for the experience, having the heart open to actually enjoy and to navigate life and to taste the juiciness that life has to offer to you. In my opinion, this is the journey of being human. So there is this shadow here, which is what's wrong with me, what's wrong with me, what's wrong with me. I'm inviting you to become aware of this shadow when it shows up, meaning when you can take a moment to appreciate what is here. When you cannot take a moment to really enjoy, I'm inviting you to become aware of that. To be present with what is coming up within you, actually when you start spiraling in all of that. And at the very moment you become aware of this, I'm inviting you to give yourself the breathing room that you need. To give yourself the breathing room that you need so that you can become available for the beautiful expansiveness that is available for you in this moment, which is the beauty and at the same time the discomfort of this human experience. So I hope this helps. And I just want to say once again, the healing journey is not about chasing shadows, because they will show up as they are ready to be integrated, or as you are ready to integrate them. It's not to chase shadows. It's to experience with more of an open heart the fullness of what is available here for you. And at the same time, when these patterns and shadows and wounds are ready to be worked through, you meeting them with an open heart. So I hope this helps. I'm sending you so much love. Thank you for being here. If this episode resonated with you, I'm inviting you to share it with a friend that might need this. And I will talk to you soon.